What does the ending of Severance episode 2 mean? I have a lot of thoughts, so let's answer some of the biggest questions from the end of this episode. Massive spoilers ahead. Question number 1, is the heli that we saw in episode 1 the Audi or the innie? I think the end of episode 2 confirmed that she was in fact the Audi. If you notice at the end of the episode, we saw each member of the team go down the elevator to the severed floor. And when they did, as the elevator goes down, we hear the beep that goes off when the severance takes place. When it gets to Heli though, we don't hear that same beep. Ever. Along with this, earlier in the episode, Heli's dad walks up to her and says, "Fetid moppet." Super weird thing to say. But this phrase is from the 1800s. I'll make another video on that. And it basically means a rotten smelling child or rotten girl. I don't believe her father thought he was speaking to the innie version of Heli here. I think he was speaking to Helena, basically telling her that her innie has rotted her to a certain degree. And because of that, I think she got her severed chip removed. Especially because it was made very clear in that episode that Lumen wants to figure out what was going on during the overtime contingency. And Milicich's efforts to get that information fell flat. Helena Egan is the plan B. And question number 2, what's going on with Miss Cobell and more importantly, Mark's wife Gemma? We know Miss Cobell was leaving because she was given the directive to get as far away from Mark as possible. But why was she so close to him in the first place? And why did she almost answer Mark's question about Gemma? Outside of maybe just being weirdly obsessed with Mark, I believe that Gemma Scott was actually secretly involved with Lumen prior to the crash. And Lumen felt the need to restore her afterwards because of how important she was. And Mark's work in MDR plays a huge part in reprogramming Gemma. And so Miss Cobell wanted to stay as close to Mark as possible to make sure he'd always stay with Lumen and not mess with their plan, but also I do think there's an element of her becoming emotionally attached to Mark to a degree, and so when he asked her about Gemma, her frustration with Lumen almost ended up leading to her spilling the beans about what happened to his wife.